For the payroll policies part 2, we will continue by talking about holidays, lunches, breaks, miscellaneous employee settings, and configuration areas. In the holiday section, you can set up if an employee is going to get paid holiday pay. If so, click on the Pay Holiday checkbox to activate the holiday rule, and choose the pay type called Holiday. If the employee has a minimum number of days that they have to be employed in order to qualify for holiday pay, this number is entered here. If the employee has to be scheduled to work on the holiday, this box should be checked. If the employee qualifies for holiday pay based on certain rules, then this area must be checked and the rule must be chosen. For instance, the employee can qualify if they work a minimum number of minutes on the last day they worked before the holiday and or they worked the number of minutes on the next day they worked after the holiday. The before or after and before and after options are below, along with the number of minutes they have to work. The next option is the employee has to qualify if they work a minimum number of minutes on the last day scheduled before the holiday and or scheduled after the holiday. And finally, the employee would have to work their entire scheduled shift before and or after the holiday in order to get paid for it. Other settings in the holiday area include applying the holiday to the next day and having the holiday hours apply towards overtime. Next, you need to decide how many hours or how much time the employee is going to get paid on the holiday. They can get paid a standard amount of time in minutes. They can receive their scheduled work hours for that day, or they can receive the average scheduled work hours for the week of the holiday. And these are based on an unworked or worked holiday. If you wish to override your holiday overtime rules, that can be done in this section. And if you simply wish to pay overtime for any hours worked on the holiday, that can be set up in this section. Lunches can be set up in the lunch area. You can either say lunch is not allowed, which means it will not be an option. You can have the employee manually clock for lunch, or you can have the system automatically subtract time for the employee's lunch. One last option here is to allow the employees to manually clock out for lunch, but if they did forget to punch, the system would automatically subtract a set amount of time. Lunches can be rounded. You can round each lunch punch to the previous, nearest, or next certain number of minutes. You can round the entire duration of lunch to the previous, next, or nearest so many minutes. You can round short lunches down or short lunches up based on a number of or amount of time the employee has taken for lunch. Breaks work the exact same way as lunches, and you'll see these screens are the exact same, except for one punch is shown as a lunch, one is shown as a break. The rounding rules for breaks also work the same way as lunches. Some miscellaneous employee settings include the automatic clock out feature, the number of hours that a work year consists of, the restrict to schedule feature, which right now shows a default of 10 minutes. This is enabled by clicking on the Enforce Schedule checkbox in the Edit Employee screen. When this box is checked, the employee will only be able to clock in no longer than 10 minutes prior to their scheduled clock-in time. Some options include allowing the employees to view the status board tab, allowing the employees to change their password, enabling the employee timesheet approvals, allowing employee timesheets to be populated from schedules, allowing employees to edit their timesheets after it has been approved by a supervisor. This particular option is only used if the employees are submitting timesheets. Allowing only administrators to edit the employee personal preferences, and allowing the employees to view their time off requests. If your employees are submitting timesheets, you have 4 different options as to how they can submit their time. Additional options include not defaulting the transfer option after the employee has clocked in, or using the employee's scheduled labor levels before using their default labor levels. After that, we have our supervisor edits area. If you wish to have every supervisor, manager, and administrator enter a note for every edit or addition that they make to an employee's time card, this box must be checked. And if you wish to have a note sent to the employee every time an edit, addition, or deletion is done, this box can be checked as well. The timesheet processing configuration. This is going to round all the time to the clock in day or the clock out day. So if you have an employee that clocks in at 11 p.m. and clocks out at 7 a.m. and you have the rounded clock in option chosen, all 8 hours will go towards the clock in day. If your employees are using hardware, you can reject their duplicate punch within a number of minutes. So if an employee clocks in at 8 a.m. and they go and try to clock in again at 8:02, and you've rejected the duplicate punch within 5 minutes of each other, the second punch will be taken, the first punch will be rejected. You can also reject opposing punches, clock-ins, and clock-outs. The comp time configuration screen can be set up so that employees can receive comp time instead of overtime. Meal allowance configuration can be set up to allow meal credits to accumulate for employees. And the callback configuration section is here to allow employees to get a specific amount of time added to their time card if they have clocked back in after their scheduled shift. So if you have an employee that comes back after their scheduled shift and they clock in and out and they're there for 20 minutes, but they would automatically, by the rules of the company, receive 4 hours, that can be set up here.